Well, hello everybody. I was zapped earlier, but I'm going to see how this one goes. I'm not talking real politics for the actual parties in Canada, so we'll see if I don't get zapped. I mean, I was right in the middle of the city. I shouldn't be. But I'm going to go into this because I get this message all the time, more and more often, in fact, and people say, who do I vote for, Dave? Who do I vote for? Well, for one, I don't tell people how to vote. I'll tell you that right now. It's a personal decision, an educated decision, each and every one of you. It's one of the limited real freedoms we have in Canada. I can promise you there are two rights and freedoms you all, as Canadians, First Peoples, everybody have a right to. That's one, voting, and two, establishing your own party. Now, under two, establishing your own party, you also have the option of voting for yourself. That's right, folks. You don't have to choose A, B, C, D, or E. You can, in fact, run as an independent in any provincial election in a province you live in. Generally, I'd hope. A lot of politicians like to parachute into other provinces just to upend elections themselves, join political parties in another province they have no love of, or even in districts they've never lived in before, run for a party or other and pretend like they're going to fight for the electorate in that area. That's all fabricated lie. I've seen it many, many times before. In fact, my home city of Edmonton, one of the provincial regions that went a particular way and got very, very strong. 6 of them, in fact, record in Alberta politics, and they all got parachute candidates from Ottawa. Edmontonians no wiser. People just go with the party, didn't realize that they had, in fact, given away everything of their electorate to another province, legally. So if you're disenfranchised and you're one of those people who's messaging me, there's been a pile, and you say, Dave, who do we vote for? I'm disenfranchised. What do I do? Which is the best of the rapists? Which of the parties currently who's raping all Canadians and destroying the First Peoples do I vote for? Well, the answer is simple, folks. Take number 2, the only other right and freedom you truly have as Canadians. Run in politics yourself. Do it as an independent. You'll save yourself money. Don't donate to these crud parties. Don't do it anymore. I can promise you, the design is exactly the same as South Africa and all UNSC reports of that most racist, disgusting display of inhumanity on the lines of Nazi Germany, Japan, all colonials. We can go on and on, folks. In history, living history, since World War I and then absolutely after World War II, it goes on and on. Canada's never been changed. We fly under the radar. The government here is very smart as being the oldest Nazi system in the world because it's colonialism. Colonialism and Nazism. Nazism is just one distinguished form of colonialism. That's it. You'll find Japan did the same thing. What was Japan? A colonial country. You can go on and on and on. All empires, all age of kings and queens, emperors, that's reality. Something to be out since World War II, but has not been moved the slightest since World War II. Now, folks, if you're disenfranchised and there's no political party you like, or you can't wait for 2025 and you have a by-election, then you know what? Run in your riding as an independent. The best form of strike would be to have a ballot for the general electorate of any given area, whether it's federal, provincial by-election or provincial general election, is to run as an independent. Think about it. If you had 100 independents on a provincial ballot, let's say, or a federal by-election, let's say. Can you imagine what that would do to the system? There is your striking back at a corrupt system. That is probably the best action you can do. I can't solve individual thought processes and how you're going to go forward. I give the freedom to you. That is absolutely what constitutionalism is about. It's not about all my beliefs. I have strong beliefs on many things that differ from many people. I just give truths, whether that's left, right, spectrum. But I promise you, it's all about taking the puritocracy and coming down the scale, down here to you, the people. And when educated properly by the greatest minds in the world, in town hall format for every citizen over the age of 18, you will all, first people, black, brown, yellow, white, doesn't matter. You, the people, will make the right decision every time. I have tremendous faith in the people when they receive that education. And that could be 3 to 6 months. It's not even a huge cost. It's in the millions of dollars. Canada-wide, it's in the $165 million range. Cheaper than anything Canada does on a daily basis, very autocratically, that costs all of you a tremendous amount. Think about 1,000 referendums in one. Now, that will be the platform released for the PPC, or PCC, sorry, when we run in 2025 and the year before that. But there is no point in me running that now. There is no point. There's not going to be an election till 2025. I will go by the Rick drop. We'll have everything in place. But to go running off cockamamie now, you go boom every time. That's reality. All political scientists and those inside party systems know this to be credible, true, and real. That's why I give the video on the man baby Jason Kenney, because that's what he's doing to destroy his own party. He would rather see the power go to one Rachel Notley and NDP. He said, if you guys aren't watching, for at least Alberta, NDP's in full campaign mode. They just are running ad after ad in the NHL playoffs, at least in the Battle of Alberta. Millions watching. And what do you think millions of Albertans are thinking? Wow, that Rachel Notley, there's the leader. Where's the Conservative Party? Where's anybody else? Zero, nowhere. And absolute statistics and politics, anyone credible will tell you, if you're not campaigning 1 year solidly, aggressively before an election, or out there with a visible leader, with a direction, a platform, you're going nowhere fast, and we will see Alberta vote NDP. I'll hit NDP with the constitutionalism, but I already know that's their view on it. They are very autocratic, the worst of all the mainstream parties in that respect. But as for how people vote and voting for their heart and their choices, if you want to see change, run for yourself. Stop giving all these parties money. They're one crown, one voice, in absolute high-end autocracy. It's a square box, you guys. That's political science. Here's a center dot. There's an up and down scale. Up here is autocracy. That's you, the Canadian citizen. The illusion of democracy. You're way up here. Appointed governments, provincially the most autocratic, extreme. Now you have a right and left narrative on that, but at the end of the day, you're completely autocratic, meaning your views don't matter. Unions don't function well in this day and age. Inflation out of control. Wages, they never match inflation. I can show you they don't. Have unions at least led the charge on wages? Sure, for years they did, but did they ever beat the inflation, really? No. And right now I can tell you, in the GTA, liberal stronghold of Canada, I can tell you all the unions saw maybe half the inflationary rate in this year's promised raises. half the inflationary rate. What does that spell? Disaster. It means you can kiss the housing bubble crisis goodbye because it's going to implode. It means a 1980s turn your keys in, say goodbye to your house, get used to being famine. A massive wealth transfer to the only wealthiest of the wealthy, first class elite. And it's hilarious. They nail Fort McMurray and Alberta in the 80s as, look at their system's crap. But now today, it will be the GTA followed by Vancouver will be the first to fall and experience the absolute reality of what Alberta went through in the 80s. That's a fact. A fact. There's no amount of subsidy. There's no amount of equalization. There's no amount of transfer that can see anybody through this. It's all maxed out, folks. All maxed out. I guess the federal government can mortgage absolutely against all the land that should be settled for all Canadians and First Peoples, but it isn't. Forever and a day, federal, provincial Crown land. Not Queensland, it's federal and provincial Crown land, as outlined in your Constitution, forever and a day since 1867. Now, the call for provincial constitutions, just like the federalism of the United States of America and the Russian Federation, was called for. Our two very, very close neighbors and the absolute most powerful allies of World War II, Canada's surrounding neighbors. Stop looking at the world from left to right and thinking Russia is a million miles away from you. They share your Arctic border by a massive 2,000-mile stretch. Your next door neighbor. Below you is the United States of America. Tomorrow, I'm in live on a high-end academic institution in the United States of America with strong ties to SCOTUS USA and strong ties to the London Supreme Court of the United Kingdom. I hope my question goes through. I hope I get a little stage to give it. I hope, because I can tell you, is it UK that's affecting USA and Russia, or is it their very closest and nearest neighbor with the largest shared borders, Canada? Canada. What's corrupting Russia? What's corrupting the United States of America? I don't think it's UK. UK is not the 1867-1982 Consolidated Act of Canada's Constitution. No, it isn't. That was the British Empire in the absolute age of colonialism and then into the League of Nations that was destroyed. Now, Canada still lives in that exact system that warps and perverts the United States of America, all but completely warped the President of the United States, one Joe Biden, who would give his right leg to have that very high-end autocratic power, the illusion of democracy, a fake federalism, and that narrative from the royal family that wants to see that alive and well today in their rewritten Commonwealth Charter 2012 and the very brand new Atlantic Charter betraying absolutely everything every Canadian and world's allied citizens, veterans of yesterday, fought and died for in World War II, to bring you the Charter of the UN. Absolutely. The United Nations Permanent 5 Security Council members and what they've bound and ratified in international law. None of that exists for Canada. It's not Canada's narrative. It's definitely not the royal family's narrative. So they threw away the historic Atlantic Charter 1941. They threw it away. They threw away the Russian Yalta Conference of those same allies, threw it away. Now we see all of a sudden there's a new narrative led by the royal family, supported by the number one payer, Canada One, Manchester, United Kingdom, Canada the country. who still exists with the same colonial, imperial, destructive power of a corrupt constitution. 1867-1982 consolidated. Read the first two-thirds. It's sick, perverse, and radical. My girls are here. Lunchtime. We're taking the dog for a walk. I gotta go. Hi, girls. I'm on Facebook Live. Bye, everybody. I'm gonna go have a little bit of fun. Bye now.